Gravity hills. Gravity hills are locations at the base of a slope or hill where supposedly if you park your car and leave it in neutral, it will somehow roll up the slope of the nearby hill. They are also occasionally known as magnetic hills, gravity roads, or mystery hill. Scientific reasoning often explains that this is an optical illusion which makes it appear as if you are rolling uphill. Supposedly, if you take out a carpenter's level, it will actually prove that you are indeed rolling downhill. One of the most popular legends behind gravity hills involves the death of children. The children are often associated with a bus breaking down, and the children getting out of the vehicle to help push. The story almost always involves the children getting crushed by the bus as it rolls back down the hill over them. According to the popular legend, you can see the children's handprints if you put baby powder on the front of your car, as their fingers and hands will appear as they push. Dark Watchers. Dark Watchers is a name given to a group of entities that have appeared in California folklore for the past several hundred years, purportedly stalking travelers along the Santa Luisa Mountains. They are almost always spotted around twilight and are usually seen staring upwards toward the sky, standing atop the mountains. They are described as tall, sometimes giant-sized, featureless dark silhouettes, often adorned with brimmed hats or walking sticks. Most often reported to be seen in the hours around twilight and dawn, they are said to be motionless and watch travelers from the horizon along the range. According to legend, no one has seen one up close, and if someone were to approach them, they disappear. The Dark Watchers are most famously given a brief mention in the short story Flight, written by John Steinbeck. He describes them as follows. Pepe looked suspiciously back every minute or so, and his eyes sought the top of the ridge ahead. Once, on a white barren spur, he saw a black figure for a moment. But he looked quickly away, for it was one of the Dark Watchers. No one knew who the Watchers were, nor where they lived. But it was better to ignore them and never show interest in them. They did not bother one who stayed on the trail and minded his own business. Turnbull Canyon. Turnbull Canyon is one of the great hiking trails in Los Angeles County. However, there is a more dark and sinister side to this canyon. There's the mountain lions and rattlesnakes, but there's also history of gruesome events, such as satanic rituals, ghosts, hangings, kidnappings, KKK meetings, and even a gravity hill. There's even some claims of seeing UFOs and extraterrestrial activity take place here. It all started with a Native American tribe. They believed that the land was forbidden ground and called it Hutugana, which means the dark place, or even the place of the devil. Apparently, these are said to be battlegrounds for the Native American wars, which happened because they were forced to change into Catholicism by the Spanish. And back then, the Spanish killed anybody who did not convert. These events may have happened at Turnbull Canyon, and could be one of the many reasons for the canyon's hauntings. Some people have said that they can hear war drums in the canyon, and some people believe that these spirits have returned to their sacred grounds to find peace. During the Great Depression, the canyons started to be used for strange satanic activity. Many families during this era had to give up their children to orphanages. There was a cult that would adopt the children from these orphanages and slaughter them in the canyon. They eventually started kidnapping children. Then the cult mysteriously vanished. People that have been to Turnbull Canyon at night have seen hooded figures roaming the trails. Some people have seen bonfires in the canyons as well. Witnesses have even reported seeing ghosts of children, the ones who were probably victims in the rituals. In the 1930s, there used to be a mental hospital located in the canyon somewhere. It had a good run until the 1940s, when it burned down. In 1962, a group of friends were partying in the ruins of the hospital one night. One of the boys saw one of the electroshock devices that were used at the hospital when it was active, and was electrocuted. The voltage was strong enough to kill him, though apparently the electricity had been shut off since the fires happened 20 years earlier. The most notable incident that happened here was in 2002. A girl named Gloria was murdered on Turnbull Canyon Road. She was shot to death and was dragged 4 miles down the road. Thankfully, the police found the killers and they are now serving justice. Other instances of Turnbull Canyon are a plane crash that happened in the 50s and a hanging tree. The plane crashed in the canyon. 29 victims were in the plane, and it's rumored that 21 of them were children. It's as if the spirits that were conjured by the Satanist caused this to happen. And the hanging tree is given the name due to a man that was hanged there at that tree. Witnesses have said that you can see this man hanging from the tree at the time of when his death happened. Turnbull Canyon is a quiet and beautiful nature walk during the day. At night, though, all the hidden secrets of the canyon come out. Bodie, California. Bodie is a ghost town in the Bodie Hills east of the Sahara Nevada mountain range in Mono County, California, United States. Bodie began as a mining camp of little note following discovery of gold in 1859 by a small group of prospectors. In 1876, the Standard Company discovered the profitable deposit of gold-bearing ore, which transformed Bodie from an isolated mining camp consisting of a few prospectors to a company with employees to a Wild West boom town. Rich discoveries in the adjacent Bodie mine during 1878 attracted even more hopeful people. And by 1879, Bodie had a population of approximately 7,000 people and around 2,000 buildings. It was said to be the second or third largest city in California in 1880. In 1913, the Standard mine closed. Mining profits in 1914 were as low as $6,821. And in 1917, the Bodie Railway was abandoned and its iron tracks were scrapped. The last mine closed in 1942 due to the War Production Board Order L-208 shutting down all non-essential gold mines in the United States, and mining never resumed. The first label of Bodie as a ghost town was in 1915. Ed Warren, the expert on demonology, curses, and paranormal occurrences, believes that there is a curse and that it is related to the town's history. Maybe that the people had come to the old mining town in hopes of getting rich, that their desperation instilled a form of supernatural power here. As a result, everything left behind in Bodie draws the spirits of its owners and others who refuse to move on. Here are some examples of the curse. In 1972, during their family's visit, 2 little girls found a bed where people threw dollar bills and change. The girls used a stick to get some of the money and took their treasure home. However, the family suffered financial problems afterwards, as its members couldn't hold jobs or keep their home. In 1994, a tourist packed a few souvenirs from Bodie. Within the span of a year, he suffered from a car accident, lost his job, and was ill for most of the year. He returned the items anonymously. Around the early 2000s, 2 teenage girls picked up rocks from Bodie and made a necklace of them. At first, they thought that they were having a spill of bad luck. However, things took a turn for the worse, and their bad luck started affecting them physically. The skin the rock necklace touched developed rashes, and one of the girls suffered from a sprained ankle. After an earthquake hit their town, they returned their necklaces back to Bodie. So, if you are planning on going to Bodie, remember not to take anything with you, or you might end up bringing home more than just a souvenir. The Monster of Elizabeth Lake. There are at least 10 different Elizabeth Lakes in California, but the most famous is the one outside of Lancaster in Los Angeles. The urban legend surrounding the lake states that the devil created these lakes to put his pets inside. If you swim deep enough, you will find a secret passage to the underworld. Many Elizabeth Lake locations sit on San Andreas fault line, so it is not very far-fetched. The first reported sighting of the monster of Elizabeth Lake was in 1880. The sightings were reported throughout the next 100 years. The monster has bat wings, the neck of a giraffe, the head of a bulldog, smells horrible, and is at least 50 feet long. The monster caused local landowners to sell or abandon their land. Spanish missionaries called it Lake Laguna del Diablo, and even American Indian legend mentions the monster of Elizabeth Lake. There were several attempts to build a ranch on the land, but during the night, residents heard screams coming from the lake and had visions of terrible events while they were nearby. Livestock and animals disappeared, followed by sightings of a winged beast flying overhead. Ranch owners tried to fight the monster, but continued to lose employees and livestock because of it. The following is a short mention of the legend in the Los Angeles Daily News. It was once named Laguna del Diablo because early settlers thought that the monster lurked inside of its watery depths. But Los Angeles County's largest natural lake, Elizabeth Lake, in the Antelope Valley, is now considered heaven by nature lovers, who are attracted by its inherent beauty and its scores of animals and bird species. The lake's modern history dates back to the early days of California's founding. In 1780, it was named La Laguna del Diablo because those who lived near the lake, formed by the San Andreas Fault, believe it contained the devil's pets. In the late 1800s, banditos used the lake as a hideout for their stolen cattle and horses. It It was later named Elizabeth Lake for a young girl who lived nearby and slipped into the water. She wasn't hurt, but friends dubbed it in her honor as a joke, and the name stuck. And just in case the legend of the Elizabeth Lake monster might scare you away, Walker said the last reports of the monster's appearance were in the late 1800s, when several men claimed they witnessed the ascension of a huge monster with bat-like wings from the lake. Daily News, Los Angeles, California. I hope you ghouls enjoyed these California urban legends. I did not know about any of these, and the one that I like the most is the Gravity Hills. They seem very interesting, and I'd like to go to one. I'm pretty sure there's one in Pennsylvania somewhere. I just don't know where. But have any of you ghouls who live in California, around California, ever been to one of these Gravity Hills? Does your car really go uphill? Because that seems awesome and creepy at the same time. But also, I have a Patreon, so that'll be in the description below. Any little bit helps. If you can't, donate anything to the Patreon, that is cool beans. As long as you're here watching, that's all that matters. But I have to give a big old fucking shout out to Jerry. He is my first, high roller ghoul in the Patreon. And I appreciate it so much more than I can just, explain in words. It means a lot to me. So, thank you, Jerry. You are the bomb. But as always, ghouls, the last video will be on the top left. The next video will be on the bottom left. All the social medias are on the screen, as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.